Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's going to be another Scorchio morning today. Let's turn left, I think. We'll go the quick way. Oh, straight into the sun always. On the way to work, how are you? Hope you're well. I'm still recording these, although there'll be some delay in uploading them. Only because I'm so busy. Got a reasonably good day at work today. I've got a lovely lady coming in at first thing who's got a wobbly front tooth who wants to add it on her denture straight away. So we're going to do the impression and then she's going to go shopping or something, and then she'll come back, we'll take the tooth out and we'll fit the denture straight away. This is the sort of service that people want if they're private, you know. They want you to work on them and them alone, to drop everything else, which is fair enough. You know, they're paying for it, so, and that's the sort of service that, you know, it's all right. I always say, you know, if you're giving people exactly what they want, money's not much of an issue. If you're not giving them what they want, then you can't charge a penny for it. So things are going okay at the moment. Life is chugging on. I am well. I hope you're well. As you can free from the shade of my arms. We've had a lot of sun. I've been outdoors a lot. My gardener's not well. He's not coming back to work, so I'm doing all the things that we pioneered together, all the jobs that I now know how to do because we did them together, and now I'm having to do them all on my own. And yesterday was I've got a wisteria that grows up and over onto my flat roof, and come the autumn when all the leaves drop off the wisteria and they all drop onto the flat roof, and then they all go gurgle down and block up the drain hole. So the flat roof ends up with 3 inches of water on it, and it all finds its way eventually through the kitchen ceiling. So once a year we have to go up and trim the wisteria right back off the flat roof. Well, the problem is that the wisteria is clinging onto the edge of the kitchen. It sort of goes up the side of the kitchen and goes up and over onto the flat roof. And one year we literally trimmed it back too much and it all fell off. So it couldn't grip onto anything. But fortunately it's all grown back now, so you have to sort of trim it, but just to leave the U-shaped bit on the top enough for it to cling onto. But and then of course you've got a ton of leaves and stuff to get off of the flat roof. So anyway, I've got various bits and bobs now that make it easier. You know, I've got a trailer that I can just chuck all the green material in and take it over to the bonfire, and it's quite a large bucket. You know, it's much larger than a truck. It's you know, it's big, so just chuck it all over, chuck it on the bonfire. Anyway, that's not what I was going to talk about. So I was sort of thinking the other day of any subjects that I haven't really discussed, and the issue came up. The issue didn't come up recently, but I mean, part of being a private dentist is like using your experience in talking to people over 10, 20, 30 years to sort of relate to them. And I do think this gets easier as you get older. You know, I mean, I'm 67 now, so I can, you know, I've got a, there isn't much I don't know. There isn't really a type of person that I haven't met. Apart from, I had the funniest incident the other day. It was a 2-lane road, like a small, short bit of dual carriageway. And all the cars had pulled over to let an emergency vehicle go through. And usually when all the vehicles pull in like that, then what happens is they all pull out again, don't they? And carry on as normal. Well, there is occasionally, and you will recognise this from your own experience, there is a person who thinks, oh, I'll follow this ambulance. This ambulance is cutting through the traffic. Wouldn't it be great if I could just sneak through, like these guys who sneak through the underground barriers or the train barriers behind other people, you know, because they haven't got a... Oh, I finally found out why this phone keeps turning itself off. It's theft protection. So I'm going to have to turn off the theft protection. Anyway, the trouble is it locks the screen and it also turns the recording off. So anyway, that's, you don't need to know about that. So anyway, people like wiggle through, don't they, the barriers after other people. And this bloke behind me decided he was going to try and, if not follow the emergency vehicle, at least pull out in front of me, pull out round me, you know, because he thinks, just because I'm driving this Peugeot partner van, he thinks that I'm an old duffer. little does he know. So this Peugeot van goes like a rocket. In fact, we call it the Rocket. And so it's like in the Formula One or the Formula races where the cars are all under a safety car, you know, they're all under a safety car, and then the safety car goes in, and then all of a sudden everybody bolts for the front of the pack, where your reactions, if you're quick off the mark and you anticipate the safety car going in, then you can gain a place or two, because the car in front of you is a bit slow to get back on the accelerator. So of course this young lad decides that he's Nigel Mansell, and so he decides to have a go. And he pulled out and accelerated at the same time as I pulled out, and cut a long story short, he went into the back of my car. Now, I will take you to the end of the story, because you'll be pleased to know there wasn't a single bit of damage to my car at all. Mainly because it's got grills on the lights, front and back. And his was a much lower car and doesn't have grills on the front, and so as a result his light cluster tinkled onto the road and nothing happened to my car. But we were driving along and he showed no signs of pulling over, so I went to pull in on the left, and then I realised that he wasn't going to pull in, he's just going to drive off, probably because he's not insured. So I just stopped in the road and I got out of the pavement and I said, look, you know, I need to have a chat with you, we need to exchange insurance details. And he was like, no, we're not going to do it, not going to do it. So, you know, along with a lot of language and, you know, middle fingers and stuff like that. Totally atypical sort of behaviour for two people that have had a crash. Normally, whereas, you know, we stop and exchange details, but not him, no. And then, to my surprise, the two people in the van behind, no doubt his mother and father, no doubt, also jumped out and started saying, I saw it, that was my fault, you know, and they're going to give him a witness statement to say that I crashed into him. Going backwards, I don't know how. But anyway, there was a lot of shouting and argy-bargy and stuff like that. And then eventually everybody drove off. And because there's no damage to my car, that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of it. But I've spoken to a source close to the Kent police who say that you know, the appearance of these people, both men driving the cars, the car that hit me and the car behind, were shirtless. And, you know, I had to use a phrase which I've never used before, but which does work. When you're ever in a situation like that and someone sort of comes towards you in a threatening manner, and basically what you say is this, you say, look, if you so much as touch me, that is assault. And if you do, then the police will be called. And it's surprising how, because there's always the, how can I put it? There's always the worry that you're going to get punched on the nose, you know, to put it bluntly. There's always the worry that, not so much that you're going to get stabbed down here, although I'm sure that's entirely possible, but there's always the worry that, you know, the person's going to grab your phone, smash it, knock you over, kick you in the ribs, blah, 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 because we've all seen it. But you know, I mean, I'm not saying that this phrase guarantees that won't happen, but the point is that you make it clear to the other person that they can shout and swear and stick their middle fingers up you as much as you like, but any physical contact, just a finger, just a jab of a finger in the chest or anything, is going to involve the police on terms that are going to be undesirable to them. So funnily enough, this bloke, you know, backed off quite a long way once he heard that. In fact, he backed off behind his wife, who was screeching away, but I wasn't really involved with these two. You know what I mean? People say, oh, weren't you like a bit scared or worried or something? And really, I wasn't worried at all. And I don't, you know, if someone calls me whatever and sticks their middle finger up at me, I don't know why. I think it might be because I've had so much experience dealing with the public, and I am a dentist, and I'm like, how can I put it? I know that there is a spectrum of people in the world, from the best to the worst. And really, I'm pleased to say that the best come in my surgery, and the worst I don't really mix with, unless they crash into me on the road, in which case then, you know what, you're forced to interact with them, aren't you? But I don't. These people are quick to gob off and use all the language and use all the hand gestures and that. That is just, I mean, I treat them like I treat my 5-year-old. That's what I do. I just don't take any notice of it. My grandson, he's got another set of grandparents, and his grandmother said to him, I don't think he likes me, you know. And I said, he's 5 years old. You can't, the concept of liking you or not liking you is really not even properly formed in his brain yet. I mean, he calls me Big Belly Boy because I've got a big belly. And really, I can't fault him on that description. You know, he's entirely accurate. And very funny and alliterative. Do you know what I mean? That's what makes it so funny. And the fact that he calls me boy. So, I mean, I think that's a brilliant nickname. And I love it. And I certainly wouldn't go around telling everybody that he doesn't like me as a result. But she's like, oh no, he doesn't like me. I'm like, look, he's 5 years old. And so that's the way I sort of dealt with these people. I think to myself, look, they're not socialised in the way that when Channel 4 or whoever used to do the Big Brother house, they didn't choose 12 normal people to put in there. They found what you and I would have probably summarised as 12 weirdos to start off with. And the more the series went on, the more the weird characters. You know, if you had some severe social maladjustment, then the chances are you would get put in the house. Because the fun was watching all these people who are not properly socialised interacting with each other in an almost infinite number of ways. And that's one of the reasons why you send your kids to school. It's not just to learn, it's to be with other children and to learn how to interact with other children and to talk and to share and to be nice and to what to expect, you know, to expect some respect from other children, etc. And this is the socialisation that is occurring. And in many ways, I think the socialisation is as important as, you know, knowing that a hummingbird wraps its tongue around its brain when it, or a woodpecker wraps its tongue around its brain when it pecks. You know, hard to understand how that is going to be useful in the real world. Unless you're perhaps an engineer or a zookeeper. So yeah, so I'll cut the video in. Feel free to fast forward to it and let me know what you think. The reason why I dropped the phone down halfway through is because that was when this bloke was storming towards me, and I was genuinely worried that he was going to grab the phone. So as soon as I was far enough away from him, we're going to put it back up again. But I should have probably just had the courage to carry on filming. And next time I will, you know. And if you get involved in these sort of altercations a lot, which the auditors do, you know, people who go around and film in public, which they're entirely entitled to do, and then it used to be that people who used to come up and say, no, I don't want you to film me, or you're not entitled to film in this location. And then they used to have to explain to these people that in this country you can film in public, or any area that's open to the public. Even inside a council building, for example, if it's open to the public, you're entitled to film, because you're entitled to film anything that anyone can see from a public area. And that includes in windows, you know. I mean, if you're, say you've got a solicitor's office and it's on the high street, and or an estate agent's or something, and someone's standing there filming you through the window, then you might say to them, you know, can I help you or anything? And then, but you can't really stop them filming, not legally, not in any way at all, really. Because the argument is that if you didn't want the public looking in your windows, then you should have some frosted glass or something in there, you know? And that includes computer screens. You know, people can film computer screens through clear windows, but if they're visible to the public, then the public can look at them, the public can film them. So I've watched a few of these, and it's very interesting because, I mean, the problem with these things is that after a while, they began to seek confrontation. They began to look for situations where they would be challenged, because the challenge was the content. You know, it was the most interesting bit. Someone going around and filming in public is not as interesting as someone having a blazing row with someone who demands that you delete the film because you've included their children in it or something. So this is the second such incident I've had. Once was just filming in a children's playground, and this bloke got very cross about the fact that I was filming his children. Well, I wasn't actually filming his children. Well, I was filming his child, because his child had caused a problem in the playground. And the only reason why he'd caused a problem in the playground was because he had an expectation that he would remain anonymous. And so what happened was I filmed him for a bit so that it de-anonymized him. And in de-anonymising him deterred him from doing what he was doing, because there was then at least the possibility that he was going to get, that he might be held accountable for his actions. So filming people to de-anonymise them is an excellent idea. Anyway, nothing came of it. This bloke's got he'll have to buy himself a new light cluster, although his car was a wreck anyway. At least it was taxed and MOT, but the body was all stoved in on one side and already, and it'd be interesting, won't it, to see. I mean, he's not going to make a fraudulent claim on my insurance because he doesn't know who my insurance is. So, goodness knows who they were. They were on a journey from A to B, and they just happened to run into me. Yep. This is the problem. I think it's the heat, personally. I think people are irascible. That's the only word I can think of for it. Oh. I've just put a camera in my daughter's car, front and back. Funnily enough, the back is in many ways is more important than the front. Because that bloke who just beat me did something out the window, which, he's hanging out the window. He's fully identifiable. It would have been no trouble at all to, posted his picture and worked out who he is. But he's done something, but I would have only caught that in a rear-facing camera. So. But like I say, I don't care. Look at my face. Do I care? Anyway, I must get that theft thing sorted out. It's going to be a lovely day today, so I hope you have fun. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I need to pause.
Yeah, fine.
You fucking idiot! Fuck off! Fuck you, mate. I was about to knock him out.
Well, we'll have to pull over somewhere. We'll have to put an insurance claim in for this.
What's he doing?
I don't know. No. Never mind. No, you can get back in the car. Well, you want to go, you go. Right, off you go. Because you're a witness.
I'm not ready to shit. My child's in the car.
All right, that's fine.
Call me when my child's there.
Go, if you're not a witness.
My child. Come in, move your car.
Right.
Don't record my child. Yeah, you can take a picture of that. You need to move.
Yeah, you're a witness.
You pulled out on there. Recording my child. Delete that now.
You're a witness, right? You touch me.
Delete it.
Touch me, that's all. I'm not police officer.
Let's all calm
Delete
down.
my child off your phone.
Let's all calm down.
I want to delete my child off his phone.
I'm sorry.
Delete my child.
I'm sorry, miss.
Delete my child.
You on eat and your plate. Right.
That's enough. Yeah, that's enough. I don't think he's got any insurance.
Oh, now you move.
All right. Hold on. Jesus crumbs.